Welcome to this month's edition of Twinings Tea Tasters. This month on Tea Tasters we're looking at Keemun Mao Feng. Now Keemun is certainly not the first black tea to be exported from China, but it's certainly one of the best black teas exported from China, with a favourable following here in the West. Keemun black tea definitely offers a niche within the tea drinking market. It's a black tea that is robust and round enough to take milk, but is delicate and has enough finesse to be drunk on its own. Keemun is traditionally named after the place where it is produced, Keemun County in Anhui Province, China. It has a very interesting history, and the story goes in 1875 a government official from Anhui visited the next province along and found a very interesting way of making black tea. This was in Fujian. When he returned to Anhui, he developed this new technique he'd learned about making black tea on an area that was predominantly famous for making green teas. And of course, after Keemun tea became very, very popular in China, it of course became popular in the rest of the world and is now for some used as a base blend for some fantastic tasting English breakfasts, along with Assam teas and teas of course from Sri Lanka. So there are many different grades of Keemun tea that exist, but there are 5 noticeable grades coming from China. Now 2 of these noticeable 5 grades are definitely made using the full leaf length. And then we have the Kung Fu, and the next we have the Mao Feng. Now of course, both of these, as I was saying, is a full leaf length. Some of the leaf lengths are slightly longer and some of them are slightly tighter and more twisted. The Mao Feng is resembling more so the green tea that this area usually produce. So the Mao Feng Keemun is definitely a tighter, more attractive looking leaf. So you can see that the Mao Feng is made up of a definite fuller leaf. And it's actually quite an elaborate fare for the tea to get to this beautiful looking stage that we're looking at today. The top tip and 2 leaves are definitely plucked and then resorted to find the absolute premium leaf from the bush to produce this absolutely fantastic looking tea, Mao Feng or fur peak, which of course makes reference to some of the furry characteristics of this tea. Now what I do find with Keemun is you do need a little bit more than perhaps we might normally do so on tea tasters. So we talk about using a level teaspoon or a slightly heaped teaspoon. I'm gonna get as much as I can on my spoon there. I'm gonna pop that in the cup and I'm gonna put just another 1/3 of a spoon as well. I'm gonna pour my hot water on, and of course we're gonna leave that slightly longer than we might normally do. I'm gonna leave that for about 4.5 minutes. Now Keemun is such a good quality tea, especially this Mao Feng grade, that you're not really gonna get any bitterness or unpleasantness in drinking it. It's going to be an absolute delight. Now in my teapot, 1 litre teapot, we might normally put 4 teaspoons, but again, I'm going to put a good 6 heaped teaspoons in this, slightly more than what we might use, but definitely worth it when we look at the overall flavour profile when drinking it a little bit later on. Always good to use an infuser basket inside your pot. So that's had a good 4.5 minutes. I'm just going to pour that into there. And of course at this stage there's always either the aroma or the colour that becomes really noticeable about the quality of tea. And for this one it's both. The colour is striking, rich and ruby red, and the aroma, well, it's got a kind of chocolatey, velvety depth to it, which makes it absolutely delicious. And look at those beautiful infused leaves there. They've just plumped back up to life. They really are a sight to behold. Oh, it's deep, it's got a slight smokiness in it. Now what you do tend to find with Keemun teas is they're either kind of a little smoky, non-smoky, or quite smoky. This one's got a very delicate hint to it. The brew is, well, the liquor's absolutely fantastic. It's got good clarity, it's got a good depth, it's nice and bright in the bowl. This is going to be a really, really special tea. That is absolutely stunning. It's got a nice, creamy, woody, vanilla-y profile to it. It's got what you might find or might call a maltiness that's normally associated with Assam teas from India, but this has got a very subtle maltiness to the base of it. That really is a gorgeous tea, and you're going to enjoy drinking that many times throughout a lovely hot afternoon. And of course, from your teapot straight into the teacup. And as we were saying earlier, this is a great tea to take on its own, or it's got enough body to use with a little bit of milk. The choice, as always, is completely yours. So until next time, happy tea times. Cheers.